I convene the February 19th, 2025 regular board meeting to order at 7 p.m. Jackie, please call the roll.
Emily Swistak.
Here.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Here.
Karen Larson, absent. Liz Sullivan.
Here.
Vanessa Berry.
Here.
Debbie Bryan.
Here.
Josh Martin.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 2 is opportunity for visitors to speak. Public comment is for the general public to address the board. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide public comment. Seeing none, we will move along to item number 3, which acknowledges that Vice President Bartelli and Trustee Bryan reviewed the January billings in February, and that Trustee Martin and I will review the February billings in March. Agenda item number 4 is the consent agenda. Is there a trustee who wishes to pull something from the consent agenda?
I would,
Okay.
yes, with the minutes. We needed an update. I mean, is this where I tell you what I want? Okay. So I think my comment got left out, where it was under trustee comments. So in number 10. So I kind of looked at that. I'm sure I made a comment. I always make a comment. So, and it was, I believe, Jackie, it was probably just similar to what everybody else said, you know, supporting Elizabeth's presentation. And so.
I don't remember that in our notes. Somehow that got missed. But we will.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I mean, and if I didn't, I'm shocked because I'm sure I had something to say.
Sure you did.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Okay.
That's it.
So then I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. We'll need to list off everything that's included in it, but then also say the minutes as amended for the January 15th, 2025 board meeting, as amended.
I move to approve the consent agenda, which includes minutes of the January 15th, 2025 board meeting as amended, minutes of the January 15th, 2025 executive session, the January 31st treasurer's report, investment activity report, current assets report, revenue report, expense report, and the February 19th payment of bills.
Okay, I have a motion. Can I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Jackie, please call the roll.
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Josh Martin.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item number 5 is unfinished business. 5A1 and 2 involve the capital improvement project summary and executive report. Mark, would you please update the board?
Sure. So quick summary this month. Just good news. BS update is in progress and we're tracking well. Almost all the VAVs have been actually switched over already to the new controls, which is great news. There's a few little VAVs. Obviously, when you have 40 some odd of these, a few of them are going to be lagging behind. There's about 5 of them that still need to do. We're trying to prove out with some of the sequence of operations and how they work with the back of house equipment. But it really shouldn't have an overall impact on getting this work completed. What we believe right now is next week they'll be switching over to the new control system with what's called a JACE and then the graphics behind the scenes. After that, it's going to take about 2-3 days to get going. And then they'll start on the air handling units, or sorry, anything, the 2 main central pieces of equipment behind on both the east and west side. It'll take about a week each for those, and then they'll roll into the boilers after that. So it looks like we'll be going into probably the middle to end of March, which is still good news. But no serious impact. The only, I'd say, impact that they had found that might have a little cost, but outside of them, is there was one box that's on the 2nd floor that you might have to move or bend a piece of conduit around to really access the box, which is basically half a day or a day for a worker to do. But if that's it, that's not too bad for 40 of those boxes to be found. Besides that, the HVAC project, we did have a kickoff meeting. We did have started working some submittals. We do need to finalize a contract that's a COI type requirement that we're trying to just polish off right now. Well, I'm hoping that'll be done this week, and that way we'll have a signed contract. At that point, we'd be submitting for permit with that contractor's name on the permit. We've already kind of prepped for that, so we know it'll be going in really quick, and then the lead time, the clock for the HVAC units will start. So everything's tracking okay. Overall, executive report, mechanical equipment is in progress. And that's generally speaking with the BS in construction and HVAC with pre-construction phase. And capital planning and vacant lot planning, we have not updated. Any questions there?
Does anyone have any questions for Mark?
I think we'll have more information after our survey. We have a community survey out there to help us with strategic planning, but part of that survey includes the vacant lot questions to the public. So we'll have more to discuss at the end of March.
There you go.
Okay. Anything else for Mark? Thanks, Mark.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank
That was
you.
a quick one.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a
Mark.
good one.
Thank you. Stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm.
Yeah.
A couple more days, that's it. We'll be warm after that.
Agenda item number 6 is committee reports. 6A is finance. Trustee Bryan?
The group met on January 24th, and Tammy from Ellers, is it? Yes, gave a great presentation. In fact, Director Weinstein has a nice summary in her report about the meeting, so, and it's kind of prompted us to have a personnel and policy meeting now too, so.
Okay, thank you. 6B is personnel and policy. I know that there's a meeting scheduled coming soon.
Yeah, it's March 12th at 7 PM.
Okay, March 12th. Thank you. Physical plan?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. And then strategic planning, Director Weinstein.
Yes, I have a bit to discuss. First, I want to talk about having a meeting, and since we are, most of us are here, I want to propose a meeting at the end of March. So if you have your calendars, you can get back to me later. But last week in March, so Tuesday, March 25th, Wednesday, March 26th, Thursday, March 27th, all at 7 PM. Wondering if that works for anybody or all of us.
26 does not. It's
Of those days,
District
the
Band
27th
Festival.
works for me, but the 25th and 26th do
I
not.
cannot do the 27th.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. That was my hope, but since we have we might move into the first week in April.
That first week is spring break, so I don't know if that,
In April?
Mhm.
The first
Yeah.
week in April?
It-
Yeah.
Yeah, first.
Excuse me, didn't you say you were considering the 25th and 26th?
25, 26, and 27.
And is it 25 and 26?
I can't do 25 and 26, I can only do 27. You can't do 27. Josh said can't do 26.
Yeah, that's District Band if anyone else is, well, really.
yeah.
But,
And
yeah.
then you're saying spring break's first week in April. We can do
Right.
second week in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, the week of the 7th is the week everyone's back.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send out some more dates. It really depends on this room availability too, because we have a large group. We have 13 people,
Mhm.
you know, us including our department directors, so I want to make sure everybody is there. And I have more to talk about, if you don't mind, regarding strategic planning. So, let me get to my notes on it. So, as we all know, the survey is going to run through February 28th. So as of tonight, we have 366 responses, which I think is pretty good. And just a side note, it's kind of a fun side note, Miss Jackie, I'll bring her into the mix again. She's been seeing an uptick in notary services here, and we're like, why is that?
Yeah.
Guess why? Our survey is acting as a messenger to our services, because
Oh.
Well, that's
that's one
good.
of the questions, like a
Mhm.
did you know question. So Jackie's seen a real uptick, and so it's really working as a messaging
Nice.
tool too, so yes.
Great.
That was nice. So, back to our planning. Our planning was to involve focus groups. And so, I've been watching other local agencies conduct some community engagement stuff, Park District included. Some are using consultants, some are not. I'm not sure on how the Park District is going to procure participants in focus groups yet.
Okay, I can tell you.
Oh, great.
We're inviting them. So every kind of grouping, department was asked, like, do you know any stakeholders that you would like to invite? And so I gave them a list, and then Dan will send out an invite. I mean, then there's also people just from the community that, come because they're, kind of active, maybe elected officials, and so there's just a real variety. And I also do believe it'll be out on, social media for anybody else who, wants to participate, they can come. But there's a limited amount of people in each group.
Sure.
And I think they want to try to get a mix of seniors and parents of preschoolers and, so that they have a nice,
Right.
cross-section
Yeah.
of people.
So that's good to know.
Yeah.
We were in the same boat in 2017. We also had a broad survey and focus groups, and at that time, the board and the staff were tasked with doing the same thing at that time. But
Yeah.
the question always comes up, like, how do you procure the right people? And then people are concerned that there's bias because you're hand-picking people. And also you want to make sure we're tapping the demographics we want. We want kids and teens and adults and seniors and maybe family groups and things like that. So I think we did okay last go around in 2017. I'm not sure we hit all the demographics we wanted. So I want to suggest something a little different for this go around and see what you think. I think it'll also help with any appearance of bias. So, and it's not different from how we launched the survey. When we launched the surveys at Winterfest, we had Trustee Barry, and anyone who wanted to could come and use. We didn't ask people to. We just asked anybody to come over. So, so what I'm proposing is in the month of March, we've got a lot of good programs scheduled here. And I would like to approach patrons who have just concluded a program in this room. So that in and of itself will secure a demographic because as you know, we have specific programs for teens and adults and seniors and the like. So how it would go is at the end of a program, let's say an adult craft program, we're in this room, we would introduce an opportunity to participate in a focus group, say 10, 15 minutes, and then use a couple of questions from the survey just to kind of spark conversation, then just have an organic conversation about their interests, how the library can do better, and I would take notes. And the goal would be to listen to these stakeholders about their perceptions of the library, the role the library plays in the community, strengths and weaknesses, our space, all that kind of stuff. And any information gathered would be in summary format, no names attached to it, but it would be under a specific demographic, like teen program. So still with me, everybody. Okay, so I would also like a trustee to be part of that, dependent on your availability. And so if you're all liking this idea, I can tap my youth services and adult services directors, ask which programs they think would have the highest participation, because as you know, we can offer the opportunity, but people are like, no, I gotta go home. So hopefully we can garner 5 to 10 people from a program of 30 or something, and they'd be willing to stay for about 15 minutes, answer a few questions, talk to us about what they think about the library, and then we'll take, like I said, some notes, and then bring that back to the committee when we finally. So that way, it's we're not hand-picking people. These are people willing to stay and talk about it. So if you're on board, I can talk to my department directors and then send some dates out for you. Most of them they're across the board. We have after-school programs, we have daytime programs, we have evening programs and weekend programs. So hopefully some make sense for some of you. And if we can't get anybody here, because I know we're all busy, we can also tap other members of the committee, which are the department directors, to be that other person. Does that sound like something?
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Sounds great.
Okay. That's it.
That's it for strategic planning?
Yes.
Leslie, you have a
One thing
question?
though, when they did the Vision 202 survey, focus groups, they put out on social media with just a Google form to sign up for time slots. So that might be a way to hit people that don't sign up for programs.
Right.
We could
So
do
maybe, I don't know,
one like
one or
that.
two
Yeah.
of those, just
Yeah.
to, so that people who aren't signed up for programs have an opportunity as well.
We could do that.
Yeah. That echoes my thought. I was a little bit worried that people who are already signed up for programs and here are going to be more aware of some of the products and services, the offerings. So it might inadvertently introduce bias towards those who are already engaged. But I I think if we are broad enough in the other approaches, that covers it.
So that would be like more of an open
Yeah,
open
like an open
attendance.
invite.
Sure, we can offer that and see if anybody bites.
Okay, great. Anything else about strategic planning from anyone on the board?
No.
Okay, then we will move on to agenda item number 7, which is staff reports, and 7A is the director's report.
Okay,
Back to
here we go
Director
again.
Weinstein.
Okay, so, February might be the shortest month of the year, but it was very busy, in terms of meetings. So everything from like me having individual staff meetings, to the HVAC meetings, to technology stuff. And in my report, I start talking about the Aspen meeting that we had. And so, Aspen's that catalog overlay that should improve our patrons' search results. It should also broaden our reach regarding pairing somebody's searches with perhaps a program like Reminder. We have a program that's similar to what you're searching, something like that. So the department directors, our IT staff, admin, Will and I have been attending bi-weekly meetings from this vendor. So we're trying to get the implementation on board and just make sure everything goes smoothly. And then moving on to HVAC, I'll skip that because Mark just updated us very well. I know Will has a couple talking points on this, but what I'll say is that we've had very good interactions with both teams, the software team and the hardware team. So that's been going well. Under technology, we've transitioned from one outsourced IT service provider to another. Our previous provider wasn't providing what we needed in a very consistent way. So after a few interviews of other local vendors, we found that our current security camera vendor does offer monitoring services as well as alert services. And that's been going very well so far. You look like you have questions. No?
Is it just the IT services for security cameras, or was that two separate?
No, it's not the security cameras. We went with the company that performs our security cameras, they manage
Sure.
it.
Right.
We had another service that just wasn't doing the job the way we needed them to. We interviewed, I think 6 or 7 other companies, and then we found that our security camera firm also offers monitoring services for our servers.
Got it. The only reason I was asking was I noticed that there was an open order for somewhere on the, I think 80 some hours that I had recently approved, and was just curious if that was a different IT service provider for different
If it was
activities.
if it was a current order that you just saw, like recent,
Mm-hmm.
that would be with the new IT service provider for hours, a bank of hours. You're
Correct.
talking. Yes.
That's the new provider?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm still a little curious. The new provider was able to estimate how many hours they would consume over the next period of time? Because my concern with that particular bill was how much time, what duration is it? Is it 3 months for those hours, 6 months, multiple years?
I think it would be months because
Okay.
we are onboarding them to provide new services for us. So right now, I just had a conversation with our IT manager. It's going to be a lot of hours eaten up right now for the onboarding.
Okay.
And also purchases of servers for our server room because we go through a cycle of purchasing new servers and things like that. So that is part of those bank of hours.
So the bill we paid in January was for the new provider?
I would assume yes.
Okay.
I can double check that and
Jackie's
then
saying yes.
communicate.
Jackie
That's the
checks
new
on that,
provider?
yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jackie.
Okay,
February 1st.
Okay.
very good.
Okay, thank you. All right, and just an FYI, our former provider, we received, because we had a bank of hours with them, we received a refund of those hours.
Excellent.
So, on another IT note, our IT manager and IT assistant, I should say, facilitated a local IT network roundtable here, met with 15 other local IT managers from libraries, and they were very impressed with our building as well as with our setup for IT. And then under Finance Committee, Trustee Bryan already mentioned that, provided a good recap. What I'll add is once we connect more of the dots with planning the Kingston lot, We will then reconnect with Ms. Olszewski regarding laddering our investment plan so that it matches the schedule for our project. And then, as Trustee Bryan mentioned, we'll also update our financial policies to match new laws that she made us aware of. And then I shared with you all today via email, I'm not sure you saw, that our per capita grant was accepted by the state of Illinois State Library, and that we should hear back sometime in spring, I think April, about a potential award. And then lastly, I just want to mention that a week ago today, we were supposed to have a big blizzard, and we didn't. We got a hard snow, but both school districts, the private schools, and some park district programs were closed, I know, last Wednesday. And we didn't get the morning blizzard, so we stayed open. But I wanted to laud the staff that we kept very aware of the weather all day long. We monitored the entrances, and there were times where, and our snow removal service, and Will was on top of that, and just making sure that we had a safe environment for everybody. Sometimes staff had to go out there with like a quick shovel or a quick salt, so we did that. But you know, it didn't turn out to be a huge blizzard. We stayed open all day and all evening, and just to let you know, we had 239 patrons in the building that day, even though it was like everybody was staying home most of the time, but we had 239 patrons in the building, and we actually had 6 patrons physically come in to an evening program for technology, and then our librarian also offered a remote capability for some people, so there was a handful of people who did the remote job, so it was just a great job by the staff all day. And then just an FYI, that same week, we did like an average of people coming into the building, so we had 239 on the blizzard day, but on average, we have between 400 and 450 people daily in the building during the winter. So, yeah, we had people here.
Great, yeah, thank you.
That's my report.
Does anyone have any other questions for the director?
I wanted to ask about the Aspen system.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more how it integrates? Is it an seamless integration where
Yes.
the service actually provides search engine functionality inside of the other products? Or is it layered on through an API or something like that?
I think it is through an API.
Yes.
I think it is.
Okay.
It should be seamless.
Mhm.
It'll look similar to what you see now in the catalog. There might be little color changes to match our website a little more, but it should bring up all of your searches. Whatever search you do, like Harry Potter, it'll bring up all the formats at once instead of
You have to look through.
yeah,
scroll
you have to
down,
like
yeah.
search through to find your format, so it'll bring up all the formats at once. And dependent on what you are searching, and we're still working through the onboarding process of this, but if you're searching for something like needlepoint, and we happen to have a craft program that's similar, it would bring that up too. And it's supposed to be a much stronger, more robust search engine.
What's the one what's the native system it's replacing? Is it
Just our current Polaris.
Got it, okay, so it is just an alternative for the Polaris search.
I don't know the correct terminology,
Really
but it
alternative.
merges with
Yeah.
Polaris.
Right.
So it's not,
Sure.
we're not replacing Polaris, it's just an extra layer, yeah.
It's a nice little reskin,
Right.
basically.
It's like a higher capability, better index option inside of that database to pull those
Yes.
results.
Yes.
Okay.
And that'll work with the app too.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
And we have an option to upgrade our app using Aspen, so.
Cool, very nice. Thank you.
Anything else for the director? Okay, moving on then, 7B is Assistant Director's Report.
All right,
Director Savage.
thank you. So going down the list, I held a person in charge training meeting. Typically, I'll do these every 6 months or so, or whenever we have a new staff member who is eligible to be a PIC, needs to be trained, and then I open it up to the rest of the staff as a retraining. So I had 5 people attend this time, which is great. It also gives us a chance to go through and see anything that might need to be updated. Like Tatiana just mentioned, we switched our IT provider, so I had to swap out the names and the contact info for all of that. So it makes sure that our PIC manual is up to date with all the information anybody needs when they're in charge of the building. So that went well. I also attended an online meeting of assistant directors. So this is very similar to last month where I was an online meeting of facility managers. This was all assistant directors. It's just a morning where we can all catch up and do a little networking and then talk about what's going on in everybody's different buildings, whether it's staffing things or whether it's building stuff. And so this time we all focused on best practices when communicating between departments, specifically in a library setting, and other different professional development opportunities for either admin or front-facing staff as well. And that's those are maybe I think quarterly we meet with those. So my next one will be in April. As has been mentioned, we have the big HVAC project going on. So One Source is our mechanicals company. I've met with them a couple times. They've come out to confirm measurements just with regards to the coils going into the units and space restrictions of getting those coils in said units, as well as to perform some balance and limit testing on the air handlers. Basically, how much air are they pushing through so that they have the right size coils to accommodate the air that we need pushed throughout the entire building. The flip side, IBS began their work. So they've been in every morning for the past 2.5 weeks at 8:30 and they leave at 4. So they're on the same schedule as me. They're going up in the ceiling, touching all the VAV boxes, adding new controllers onto them. So it takes them about 4 hours per box, and we have 42 boxes. So those guys have been busy, but they've been great. They've been great with staff and with patrons, and just as accommodating as we could ask for. So kudos. We also have, you may have noticed if you've been to youth services, the automatic door opener has not been functioning. So I went through troubleshooting with Asa Abloy, which is the manufacturer. They then require a locksmith to come out and do troubleshooting. So we finally had, that guy actually came out earlier this week on Monday, was able to come to the same conclusion that I did, that we need a new circuit board in the opener. So they're gonna go back and order that. Once it gets in, install it, we should be good to go and have those doors up and running again shortly. And then the bathroom saga continues, but Stevens figured out why one of the urinals is having some drainage issues, and then we were able to find a solution to the automatic flushers that were having a problem. So everything, knock on wood, is good for right now. So
Knock on porcelain.
last time I checked.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the assistant director?
So is that circuit board under some sort of a warranty?
No.
No.
The warranty was for 2 years, so the warranty expired in September.
Of course, right? I know, just like clockwork. Yeah, well, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the assistant director? Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
I say I checked.
Oh, I'm
So
sure
it was
you
just
did.
not that I just
Yeah,
decided
yeah.
it wasn't. Unfortunately, no longer. Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving along. Item number 8 is new business. 8A and 8B are the only action items under new business and include the semi-annual review of executive session minutes and the review of executive session recordings more than 18 months old. We will need a motion and a second for item 9, executive session. Will a trustee please make the motion and read aloud the full citation? We will then return to open session under agenda item number 8 to take any action if warranted.
I move to go into executive session under 5 ILCS 120/2C21, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06.
A second?
Okay, motion and a second. Jackie, could you please call the roll?
Emily Swister.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Josh Martin.
Aye.
Okay.
We just have to close the doors.
Yeah.
Change. Okay. We are now in open session at 7:36 PM. May I have a motion and a second for agenda item 8A?
I move to release the August 14th, 2024 minutes of the LLD Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
Wait, you said the date? Okay. Motion, okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay, roll call please.
Emily Swister.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Josh Martin.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. May I have a motion and a second for agenda item 8B?
I move to destroy the August 16th, 2023 recordings of the LLD Board of Trustees.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Emily Swissack.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Josh Martin.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, last item, no, not last item. We will move to item number 10, opportunity for trustee comments. All right, let's start with Trustee Martin.
Director Weinstein, thank you very much first and foremost for the update on the Aspen system. I was very curious about that. Pleased to know that that is something that will enhance our digital offerings and our digital services. And then more importantly, and now I can't seem to find it, I appreciate the follow-up on the social worker that we've been getting regularly, both from the township and yourself as well. I'm really pleased that it's getting serious traction. I think that in and of itself is probably one of the single best things that we could continue to do for our constituents, and so I'm really happy that we are engaged in that and pursuing it. And I don't think if it wouldn't have been for your initial email that would have ever been explored. So again, thank you for that. I'm pleased that there continues to be discussion on it and it's moving forward and there's some opportunity, and whatever happens with some of the other districts, that's fine, but I'm happy that it's getting some attention. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Sullivan.
I have to echo Josh's comments, especially when it concerns the issues that you've been writing about and that you've been approaching the village about, and how you've summarized what's been going on and how different communities have been handling situations, and how you've offered up potential solutions, and how you're trying to work with different groups and you know, kind of like giving ideas out. Because I know that we can't control everything, but it's good to see you doing extra research, even if it's not part of your responsibility. I think it's great, so thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Berry.
So after Elizabeth Hopkins' presentation last time, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of library legislation, and just wanted to give you guys an update that there was a bill a couple years ago in Illinois about the pricing structure. It didn't pass, so I have a whole bunch of search things out there to see if anything is going to come up this year. And the Illinois Library Association has like a policy meeting at the beginning of next month that I think I'm going to attend online.
Great.
So I'll let you know what I find out.
Thank you.
Wow, nice.
Thank you. Okay, Trustee Bryan.
So I would reiterate your community focus, and I'm thinking of everybody, and you know, and that really reflects in keeping the library open last Wednesday as well.
That too.
When
I forgot to say something. But
you know,
yes, thank
everybody
you.
closed, and you know, and it was really, you know, nice to know that there was somewhere for people to go in the community that was better than sitting in the lobby of the police station or, you know, the township, which I'm not even sure if they were open, but you know. Yeah, it was just nice to know that, and you were offering something for families, and you know, back to kind of what I said about how my daughter has had all these days off of school, and I said, what are people doing, you know? And I said, you know, they go to the library or the park district? She said, no, that all kind of shuts down too. So there's not options, you know, for anybody to get out, and so it's, I really appreciate that. So.
I appreciate hearing that.
Thank you, because it's a tough decision to make with staff
Well, I work
and
with
safety and,
the board president and
Mhm,
making those decisions, and we would never like stay open where it was a danger to
Of
staff
course,
and or
right,
patrons,
right.
but we figured this was
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, I appreciate it, and thank the staff who stayed, because that's really a big deal, a big ask sometimes, so, especially when everyone around you is going home, you know, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vice President Bartelli.
Well, I have a request that I be the first one to give my comments, so I don't have to repeat everybody else.
Next month.
Thank you all very much.
I'll go first next month.
No,
Ditto.
just kidding. But I do feel like the library is somewhat on the forefront of the social worker issue. And by the directors, not pushing the issue, but keeping it in the forefront of everyone's thoughts, and it's a great thing. We should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
And,
Absolutely.
also, I would like to volunteer for the, you mentioned the survey and during programming. I think that would be fun.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. And then I'll go last. I just wanted to say that I am looking forward to seeing the results of the survey that is out for the public right now, hoping that more people will complete the survey as well until the end of February, so really looking forward to that. And then we have until, well, I guess April now, that we'll be diving into the results, but at least, you know, it's there, it's on the horizon. I'm looking forward to that and getting the stakeholders' input. I think that's always important, and then adding in these focus groups as well. If there's something that's a time that's I'm available to get here, I would love to participate in that as well. And I think that's it. That's all I got.
Great.
Okay. Oh, so last item on the agenda is to adjourn. May I have a motion and a second?
A motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned at 7:44 PM. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.